That's not wrong. That is right, but it's incomplete and it's inadequate because if you just are looking at the New Testament and then going back to kind of cherry pick the Old, it's going to be superficial. And I learned that from the early church fathers.
Mm.
Justin's dialogue with Trypho the Jew. Justin was himself raised in Samaritan Israelite religion, so he knew better. And the other fathers did too. And so what I think you have to do is to look at the Jewish roots. The Old Testament roots might be a better way of saying it, because then you begin to sense that, yeah, it was widespread for a good reason. And you can trace the trajectory all the way back to what we call the first gospel, Genesis 3:15, that after the serpent has crushed the first couple, Adam and Eve, getting them to commit mortal sin, to cause them to suffer the death of the soul, to lose divine life, as it were. That's what we mean by original sin. The promise that through a woman and her seed, in the Hebrew, zera, in the Greek, sperma, you don't associate sperma with the woman, but the man, but a woman will have the seed, and they will crush the head of the serpent. And so even in ancient rabbinic interpretive traditions, you have a clear sense that this is pointing to the Messiah. And as you trace the seed prophecies through Genesis and really into Exodus, Leviticus, especially Numbers 24 with the prophecy of the star. King Herod shows evidence that he was well aware of the fact that the star prophecy of Numbers 24 threatened his own kingdom because, he was from the people from Edom. And that's, in Numbers 24, the star, the Messiah, will crush Edom. So he slaughtered the innocents to kind of a preemptive strike. So it was widespread, not only among the Jews, but the one who was claiming to be the king of the Jews. And then again, we can come back to it later, but you see in Deuteronomy 18:15-18, the prophet like unto Moses, that they were eagerly awaiting. Even up north in Samaria, they were believing in a coming one who would deliver them. And as this grows over time, you begin to sense that these aren't just stars that we arbitrarily connect in some random fashion and call them constellations. No, this was in plain view. Now, while we can look more closely at how to interpret the messianic prophecy, because on the one hand, quantitatively, there are over 100 messianic prophecies in the Old Testament, or what Jews would call the Hebrew Bible. On the other hand, they're not all created equal. You have to understand them typologically, contextually. You have to look at them closely in their context, which might take a semester. We can't do it, today. But once you do, you realize, okay, yeah, it's widespread, but it's not monolithic.